Record. So, welcome. Thanks for joining us. This is episode 6 of this live coding live stream. So far we've been working through the rustling exercises, which actually have been a really good introduction to Rust. There's a few things that have been a little odd. The quizzes I find strange and not very quizzy. They don't seem to cover very much of the material, and I feel like more could be done there. And we're just about at the end, and there's been really nothing about lifetimes, and lifetimes seem important and confusing, like a source of difficulty. Apologies for the shifting. I still have this knee brace on, which is likely to be true for several more weeks. So sitting here is less than perfectly comfortable. So not much on lifetimes, if anything. I don't think anything. And I don't think there'll be anything today. And so I feel like that would be a gap that maybe could be filled. Maybe I should go look at the repo and see if there are issues on that and ways that I could help. Because I do feel like I've learned some useful things, and I appreciate the project. But we're nearly at the end. There are only a handful of exercises left. There's several on conversions, and then I think it's 2 on advanced errors, and then it's done. And the Rustlings thing will be finished. Which then leaves us with the what to do next question. I think I'm going to actually start working on a real project. So I've got a repo started that just has a README and no code in it yet, for a Rust web app using, the intent is to use Rust and U. I mean, right now, literally, it's just a README, so it doesn't have anything. But the intent... my intention is to use Rust and U to implement a tool that I at least will find useful. I mean, the classic, scratch your own itch and see if anybody else cares, to help batch archive GitHub repositories. As a university instructor, I end up generating or becoming owner of lots of repos that students create, or GitHub Classroom actually creates on behalf of students. And those really ought to be archived, and doing it by hand is super tedious. And so I think this is definitely something to automate, and it seems like it would be a reasonably straightforward thing to do with you, YEWU. There's no real reason to use Rust and U for this, other than I'd like to actually play around with Rust some more, and do something with web requests and parsing responses and things like that. So I figured, why not? We'll do that. So if we finish the rustling stuff, we'll start that today. We'll see what happens. Okay, so in the absence of any questions, let us actually get this thing going. So I've gone ahead and started up Rustling Watch, so we can see we've been through a lot. Like in the previous 5 episodes, we've done a lot of exercises, and we just have, like I say, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Conversion exercises, and the 2 advanced, I think it's 2, advanced errors exercises. So this is all that's left. So we ought to be done here, I think, reasonably quickly, unless I get hopelessly stuck. I don't really know much of anything about conversions. I know Rust does stuff with conversions, but I'm not super on top of how that all works out. And so I might end up flailing a little bit on those, and then I have no idea what the advanced errors is going to be. So that might be super fast, or that might take a lot of time. I don't know. Okay, so we'll start with using as. Type Typecasting in Rust is done via usage of the as operator. Please note that the as operator is not only used when typecasting, it also helps with renaming imports. Okay. The goal is to make sure the goal of this problem is to make sure that the division does not fail to compile and returns the proper type. And we get a type error down here, total divided by values.len. So that's on this line right here. There's no implementation for F64 divided by usize. So total is the sum. We're passing in a slice of F64s, and we add them up by turning them into an iterator and calling sum. And I don't know, I don't feel like we need the type annotation here. Like, it would have been able to have done that from this. I'm curious. So it still seems the same. If I explicitly type that as an F64, it's still happy. So I don't think we actually needed that. I'm going to put it back because I don't think there's anything wrong with it, obviously. But I don't think it was a necessary piece of syntax. But the important thing is that total is an F64, as it says here. And values.len is a usize. And we don't know how to divide those. So we need to do a conversion to get them. The easiest thing would be to have them both be the same type. And you could then ask what type, because we could take the F64 and make it a usize. Actually, I don't know if you can divide usizes. Yeah, I bet you can. No reason not to. Or we could take this usize and turn it into an F64. If we look at the type of the return, it's clear that we really want the result of the division to be an F64. So it would make the most sense to say as F64 here. Now I don't know what the binding order is. Like, does as bind tightly and that this gets read this way, or does as bind loosely and this gets read this way? I think I'm going to want to put parentheses in it just for readability, but I'm curious to see what the compiler... Oh, the compiler actually likes it that way. So presumably as binds quite tightly. Hello! Nice to see you again. So this is... The as is applying just to this and not to the whole expression. Well, that's cool. We could... If we were concerned about it, we could put parens there to make it more clear exactly what we were doing conversion on. I don't know. It's probably more rusty to do it this way. I don't know that I like it, though. But that passes. So this solves that problem. And we can print the averages of things, and the test pass. So life is good. So that's pretty straightforward. Questions, comments? Okay. And so we move on to which one? From into. Okay. The from trait is used for value-to-value conversions. If from is implemented correctly for a type, the into trait should work conversely. So if you only have to define from, and you get into for free. So we've got a person struct that has a name and an age. We implement the default trait to use as a fallback when the provided string is not convertible into a person object. So the default person is going to be a person whose name is John and whose age is 30. I'm not sure I fully understand what that's going to be used for, but we'll hopefully figure that out. Your task is to complete this implementation. In order for the line let p equal person from mark 20 to compile, please note that you'll need to parse the age component into a usize with something like .parse usize. And the outcome of that needs to be handled appropriately because the parsing could fail. So presumably that parse command, I'm guessing, returns a result where you can have the actual usize or some kind of parse error. We'll see what that looks like. Okay, and then there's a bunch of steps. If the length of the provided string is 0, then return the default person. I'm not sure how to actually, I don't know if that's just person : default, I guess. Not really entirely sure. Split the given string on the commas present in it. Extract the first. Now the split, you might not have a comma. So there's presumably the chance for errors to happen there as well. But split the given string on the commas present in it. Extract the first element from the split operation uses the name. If the name is empty, then return the default of person. Extract the other element from the split operation and parse it into a usize as the age. If while parsing the age something goes wrong, then return the default person. So basically we're not going to return any errors here. We're always going to return the default person, which seems like a pretty weird approach, frankly. I mean, these are exercises, so weird abounds, but that seems like a very strange setup. Otherwise, then return an instantiated person object with the results. Okay. Whew. So there's a little bit to be done here. So we're going to get this string. So we need to first check if the length is 0. And if it is, s dot len return person default. Does that compile? So actually, what if we just person default as the final return value? Okay, so that'll at least get the returns. So so our tests, wow, a lot of tests pass? Really? That's weird. Oh, I guess almost everything returns the default. So almost all the tests pass if all I do is return the default. In fact, if I comment that out, I probably still get almost all the tests to pass. Yeah, so 10 passed and only 1 failed. So the only failing test is the one that should do the conversion. Everything else is checking error conditions. And so by doing nothing, we pass the bulk of the tests. So, okay, well, that's fine. That's actually not an uncommon testing scenario. So, okay, so if the length is 0, we'll return the default. Otherwise, and I'm actually using an explicit return here because we could end up with a big pile of if-then-else's. That sounds kind of ugly. And so it seemed easier just to check that. Yeah, so it seems like it'd just be easier to use the... Oh, I see what you're saying. So use the if to check to see if it's valid and only have this person default once. Yeah, I had that thought. Because we're going to potentially end up with like 4 instances of return person default, but there's not a good way to check that it's valid without doing a lot of the work, because we have to do the splitting. I mean, I guess we could do like a regex on the expression. You say it will short circuit. I assume you mean having a return here, which would have been my intent. Or maybe you mean something different. Maybe there's a Rust feature here I'm missing. There's an opportunity that I'm missing. Okay. So, yeah, the logic on this sounds like it's going to get kind of ugly. And if anybody sees a way to clean that up, that would be definitely appreciated, because and like I said, you could do like a regex match, but I don't really want to do that. That sounds like overkill for this problem. But we'll press on, and maybe people will see cool ways to make it better. So now we're going to split the string. S.split. Now I don't know off the top of my head. Okay, we're going to have to Rust split. Honestly, don't know what the syntax looks like. Oh, that's a type. Okay, here we go. So split. Oh, that's right. It takes a pattern and it returns a split thing, which is basically an iterator over the resulting pieces. So we take dot split and the thing we're going to split over, and then we can grab stuff from it. Okay. So, what extension am I using? That's a great question, and I certainly wouldn't claim to be in any way knowledgeable on this. I'm using this one. Oh, no. Yeah, so I looked, that was actually a confusion I had. So I think that I'm currently using, so it even says that this is deprecated to use Rust Analyzer instead. Well, I think maybe I'm doing that, but I also, there's been a version update and I need to reload. I won't do that here. But I think I am using this Rust Analyzer. I think I started with this guy, and through some stumbling about, figured out that this was the one that people were like, you should use that. So, yeah. Well, thanks. I'm glad to know that seems to be the good one. That's appreciated. So we'll split on comma, and then we could call that let split results is that boom, and now let name is split results dot next. No, it's not next. Thought oh, they're just doing all this collecting and stuff. They don't actually grab a single thing. I think it's next. I think I'm remembering that right. Now that probably won't compile. Oh no, it probably will compile, because so I need that to be mutable. Sure, because every time you take something from it, you're changing the iterator, so that does make sense that needs to be mutable. Now name is going to be not a stir. Oh, what is a split's going to take, give us back stirs, I think, because it wants to, it's ampersand stir. It wants to be able to like point into the pieces of the string without having to make a new string. Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking. This is returning an option because there might not be a first element. Now, but under what circumstance would there not be a first element? Is that going to happen? Is that ever going to happen? If the string is empty, what does this actually do? Is there okay, here we go. There's an example of an empty string. We will still get at least one value. So this is always going to return something. So I can say unwrap here safely. And then I'm going to want to check to see if the name.len is 0 again. And if it is, return person default. Okay. So now we've got 3 instances of person default. That is not pretty. Now we'll get the other element. Let age stir. I'm gonna like overkill this for now, and we'll come back and clean things up some. So I just want to make sure that everything's compiling and I'm not. Okay, now here there might not be something. So this is a potential problem. So we are going to have to return the default if this is actually a none instead of a sum thing. And since we're going to have to return, I probably need to actually just do something like match age. So this is really an age option. If we get none, we want to return, no, it's fat arrow, return person default again. And if we get some age stir, we're going to want to I'm basically checking if the name is empty twice. Yes, probably. So we could probably get rid of this, because if this were true, then the split would return an empty string here and we would do this part. So I think you're right. I think that this part doesn't need to be there anymore. Now here I want match. The scoping is giving me a headache here, because if I get the sum option, I want to capture that in a variable, but the variable is going to be in the match scope. Like if I do something like let age stir equals age stir or something weird like that, I don't think I'll have access to age stir down here. Oh, semicolon. Oh, what? Oh, because I declared the type. So this is really needs to be an option still. Yeah, duh. So you can assign the return value of the match for a branch that doesn't early return. Oh. Oh, I like that. So that solves my scoping problem. So I do this, and then this is just that. Oh. And, oh, that's got to be a string. I'm a doofus. And yay, okay, it compiles. And we have our one failing test still, which is what we expected. Oh, weird. You're right. The branches types do mismatch, but this still compiles. Huh. Because this is going to be the unit type, and this is going to be the string, but maybe because this is a return, it's smart enough to know that there is no value being sent back to HStr here, so it gets to ignore this deal because of the early return. And so it only needs to do the type check on the ones that actually generate a value that could be assigned to this. Speculating here a little bit, because this is not, definitely not an expert, but that would be my guess as to what's happening here. And we do print 20 on the good convert standard out, which is what we should print. So, and we probably print, yeah, so we print things like 20, which is coming from here, and there's some 32s that are coming from here. So, does look like that works. So, interesting. And thanks for pointing out that it shouldn't work, because I don't know that I had realized that there was an issue there until you asked the question, but there definitely is a thing to think about there. I think it makes sense to me, but it was not immediately obvious. So, very cool. Very cool. All right. So now we have the age string. So now we can parse that. Let age equals HStr.parse, and we want to say it's a usize. Oh, actually, I think I got the parens in the wrong place. Yeah, I did. This syntax with the double colons and the type and the parens, I struggle with that. I'm constantly doing the wrong thing there. Now, this won't actually be a usize because the parsing could fail. So if we save that, yeah, we found a result type, which was not a usize. And let's see. If the parsing goes wrong, then return the default person, otherwise return an instantiated person. So here again, we could say match age result, yeah. And we're going to have a result type has a option is some and none. Result is something in error. Gapping, rust, oops, not riced, rust, result type. Okay in error. There we go. So we'll have okay age, and oops. So we'll have to figure something out there, and error, and we'll have to figure out here. This part's easy. We want to return a person default, and here we want to return a person that has a name and an age, right? That's the name and age. Name that will be name, age that will be age, comma, and now if I actually get rid of the semicolon there and remove those guys, this would return this last. So this is a value. It's the last value. It will be what's returned, and that will in either case be a person. It will either be this person or that person. And since the keys and values have the same things, I think I can just say name comma age here, and it will do the right thing. Fingers crossed. Yes, which is suggested in the chat. Whoa. Oh, name's supposed to be a string, capital S, and we've got a stir slice. So we're going to have to convert this to string, or by some other means convert it. Oh, and now they don't match. Okay. Oh, and I capitalized it. I think I'm going to do this all the time. Rust. And actually, I don't disagree with Rust's decision there, but I am just so used to typing OK in all caps. I feel like I'm going to have this problem all the time. Okay, so not all the tests pass. 2 fail. So let's see what failed. Trailing comma and some string. So we're if the string has more than 2 components, we are ignoring things that happen later on, but we're not supposed to. So if we look at the tests, if there's a trailing comma or a trailing comma and another component, we're actually supposed to return the default user, and we don't actually check that anywhere. And we were passing that before because we just had the person default at the end. So we could either restore the person default. No, we're gonna have to check this, aren't we? So in fact, after we get the age option, we can check to see if there's anything else in the iterator. And if there is, then we want to return the default person. This is really getting ugly. Split results dot has next question mark person default. No, method not found. Okay, what is the iterator thing for? So I think I had, no, I didn't have iterator. Wah, wah, wah. Iterator. How do we tell if there's what's the thing to check to see if it has a next? Because there's presumably a way to sort of ask, do you have another one? Oh. Well, actually, next isn't even in here. Am I in the wrong place? What is any? No, definitely not useful. Oh, so yeah, we could just see if we get something, if we get a sum out of it. No, that just seems gross. It seems like we ought to be able to like ask, but maybe they don't want to support look ahead. Maybe that's with the whole peekable thing. Because there is peekable, peek. We can use peek and peek mute to look at the next cell without consuming it. And I think maybe that's the issue, is that if we still ought to be able to ask, like, do you have something? I would have thought. Well, maybe just calling it's the thing to do, but that seems gross to me. Like we shouldn't. Okay, let's see. Rust iterator. Find out if it has a next element. Oh, is empty. Oh, maybe that's the thing. Is there an is empty? No. Empty. Is empty? No. Next is sum. Well, I guess that's what one does. But that does advance the iterator. But in this case, that's going to be okay because we don't care what that thing is. If we did care, then we could get into peekable. Oh, a way of using reduce for this. Oh, that's interesting. Let's finish this version, but then that might be a good thing to come back to, because man, I certainly think what I've got going here is ugliness. So we would call next, and we would say is sum. We put a bang in front of all that. So if split results is not a sum, if it's a none, then we still get a whole bunch of failures. Oh, weird. We got, so this did not work. Why did that not work? We've taken this next and this next. So I would expect this to be empty here. And I bet there's an is none. And I probably don't need the bang here. And that's not fix the problem, but at least it's simpler syntax. So why does that not work? So what is the... I'm curious what the results of the split look like. So I'm going to just be like print line. Let's print a copy of s.split. So we can see, whoa. Oh, that's because I can't spell. Oh, it's probably debug. What is that? No, I don't think that's right. Nope. What is the thing? Rust debug print colon question mark, I think, instead of question mark colon. Well, I was in the neighborhood. La 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 la. Okay, so let's actually focus on the failing ones. Oh, actually, I really wanted to probably collect here, so we get something that's more printable, more readable. Whoa. Collect. Oops. Ampersand stir. No, it doesn't like this. Value of type stir cannot be built from an iterator of stirs. Rar? Wow. I didn't mean to fall into a hole here. Oh, it's a vec of those things. So vec. Thank you. Okay. Whew. Appreciate that. Okay, so we get mark and 20. And yet we are returning John. And that's presumably coming from here. And here we're getting Mike, 32, and test. And we're not returning the default. Why? What is going on? Okay, well, I'm going to actually focus on this one here for a second and walk through what's happening. So we split and we get Mike 32 man. And that's our split results. We call next and unwrap and we get Mike. So name is Mike. The length of name is not 0, so we don't return this. Age option is split results next. And that gives us an option around 32 because we don't unwrap it. And then we say if, actually I'm going to print line next was none. There's so many places we could be returning default from. Whoa, print line bang, yeah, fine. Whatever. Picky computers. Okay. So here next was none. Oh, which is what we expected. Oh, did I just get my logic wrong here? If it's none, that's the good thing. If it's not, if it's some, then it's the problem. Ugh! I think maybe that was my problem all along, is I just had my logic turned around. Good grief. So all that flailing was just because I had my logic turned around. So if there was something, that's the problem, and we want to return the default person. If there's not anything, then that's the good case, and we want to keep going. Okay. Whew. So this works, but this is frankly gross. Not liking this at all. Now, there was a suggestion earlier from Lumicalt of a way of doing this using reduce. Now, are you thinking of reducing over what I'm calling split results here? Because we're going to have to treat... I mean, reduce isn't going to know... It's not going to be able to tell how many elements there are in the iterator, and it needs to treat the first element different than the second element. I assume you mean fold, yeah. But again, fold doesn't know how long the iterator, how many elements there are in the iterator, which we need to do. And it needs to treat the first different than the second, which seems icky. I wonder if the thing to do, and I didn't realize, I don't think I realized there were these is some and is nones, and I feel like that may actually simplify some things here. So one possibility might be to just grab the stuff out of the so let's start by just getting the pieces. So we're going to get the name, we're going to get the age option, and if age option is none or next is some, then parens, can call it function, then we'll return the default person. So that catches both of those cases. And in fact, we could put the name len here and get rid of this test. And now this option's been dealt with here. So now I can actually just unwrap age option, and I don't have to faff about with all this stuff, because we know we've taken care of the possibility that it's none up above. And then we're going to have to parse. And now, I mean, that actually looks pretty reasonable. And we only have 2 occurrences of the person default. You can convert this whole if or to a match on the tuple. Yeah. So, because this is kind of ugly. So I think you're suggesting, boom, match, and then provide name, age option, and split results. Do I put that there? Dot next? Maybe dot next. So this is the kind of thing you're thinking about, and then would have various. You can keep the same bools in the if. No, I'm not doing. So I would literally have dot len equals 0 here. Is that what you're suggesting? So this is then. Oh, and then I would match true, 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 false, true, things like that. So if it matches true, but why is that better? I'm not sure I see. Okay, well, let's roll with it. Dot is none. Is none. Okay, and then we'll do the dot is some. Okay, I get that. Now, I'm not sure here. I would be saying if true, because if any one of these is true, I'm going to need to return a default person. Wow, I'm clearly missing something here. So I guess I was thinking like something like this, which is almost certainly not what you mean. Right? Because then we're going to have this. And that's not what you're thinking of, I'm quite sure. Because that is not obvious in any clear way better than what we had before. So I don't think I know what to put here as the pattern. I'm going to get I can put my conditions here, but I don't know what to match against that's going to make something. You say it's better because you get all the no end compliant into one single branch. And I think that's the part I don't see how to do. Oh, and you could do the sum age. That's true. That part makes sense. Well, no, because not if we have this, because what gets passed into the matching is going to be a Boolean. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure I understand. I'm happy to hear suggestions, but I don't see how this gets us to a happy place. Do I see a way to do? Okay, here we go. True, non-true, person to false. False, sum age, false. Okay, so you're suggesting we take the is none off, and that's how we could gather the age out. So if we have, so the problem is you've got true, none, true here. And that is, I think, overly strong, because this requires that the name length be 0 and there be a third element. And we want, if either of those is true, to return person default. And that's where I think this gets icky, because this the matching implicitly ands all of these, and we want to OR them. And so this is going to give us the default person if all of these are true, and we want the default person if any one of them is true. And that's why I ended up with all the underscores as a way of saying, like, I don't care about those other values. If any one of those is true, then that's enough to move us forward. But that's not, I don't think that's how the matching's going to work. I mean, we could give it a try, but I think it's going to fail the tests. Some age false, and then the idea is that the person gets name.toString, and we still got to do all the parsing stuff. So that's sort of in there where yeah, so we could do a bunch of underscores, but I think we're going to end up with a lot of them, because I think we're going to have to be like true underscore 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 none underscore 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 true. And that just, I don't think that's a win over just ORing these things together. I'm not sure that's, I don't quite see how that's an improvement on the readability. Yeah. I'm not sure I'm getting it. And we're going to still have to do the parsing on the age down here, so it's not like we can actually just return a person here. I guess we could, well, no, we can't do the parsing first, because we've got to like verify that there is even something there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna step away. I'm going to leave this commented out as something to think about. Or does the fact that it focuses on anding the conditions together just make it complicated? Yeah, so it is a neat learning experience. I mean, I think that was, I very much appreciate the suggestion. I'm just not convinced it's gonna like play out gracefully. And so I think if we come back to here, that does work. Now, I've probably got more variables here than I need. In particular, I doubt I need age result and age stir. I could probably just bring that up here. And now this is sort of age result. And I might just move that whole thing into the match. And avoid coming up with a name there, because it's not that long. Yeah. Split results probably does need a name, since it gets used like several times. Name we want. Age option is a little gross, but it gets used again here. and then down here. So maybe it's just the best, well, best. Oh yeah, right. Shadowing. I keep forgetting that shadowing's a thing. I could actually do that. And that feels like that would be kind of the more Rust way to do this. Would be to, instead of having these all these different names, just call everything age. Well, and actually, we really just have the, I mean, it's just age option. So, I mean, age as a name kind of implies that it's a number when it actually is never a number. Like, you know, you'd think age would be a number, and age is in fact an option, and is an option all the way through until here. Like, this is the first place age is actually a number. Do I care a lot about that? I don't know. I mean, given that the compiler, yeah, that's true. I could make the types explicit. And since the compiler is like really aggressively checking all the types, maybe it's not as critical that I use names that are directly reflect the types of the things. Well, and it's interesting that it's not even, not only is it not a number, it's an option, and it's not an option of a number, it's an option of a stir slice. Yeah, I don't know. I'll leave it at age for now. But I think I will put the explicit type in for funds. Whew. Okay. Well, that was kind of exciting. So that was lots of good feedback and suggestions. Questions? Oh, no problem. Questions or comments before we move on to the next exercise? Okay. A nice example of refactoring after getting the test to pass. And lots of good suggestions. Okay, so we are on FromStr. So we just did from into. Actually, did we really use from into anywhere? Oh, we didn't. Is that really... Oh, we did. That's what we were implementing from. Okay. So from... so we were implementing from so that we could call person from and then give it a string, and we get person objects back. Okay. So we did actually use from. So FromStr is similar to from into, but this time we'll implement the FromStr trait. And return errors instead of falling back to a default value, which seems like a much more sensible solution to me. Additionally, upon implementing FromStr, you can use the parse method on strings to generate an object of the implementor type. Okay. So we have our same person, and we've got this error type. So it has parse person error. And there are various ways this can fail. We can have an empty input string. We can have an incorrect number of fields. So instead of just having 2 fields, we had more or less. Empty name field, or we failed to parse the int correctly. So any one of those things could happen. So we're implementing FromStr for person. Let's see how that actually works. So we call parse. So string.parse person. Okay. So in the same way that we had parse with usize before, here by saying parse of person, it will use the implementation in the implementation of FromStr for person. It will unwrap and it will print. Cool. That seems like a deal. Okay. So we're returning, so we're declaring, we're naming parse person error ERR. And I don't know that I fully grok why we bother doing that. So, what if let's return name Nick age 59. Now that, whoa. Oh, it needs to be a result. So it's okay of that. Oh, yeah, right. That's stir slice, not a string. Okay. So everybody fails. Why does everybody fail? Because this is never the right person, and it's also never the right error. If we changed it to something like if we returned one of the errors, then we would it's person parse error : person parse, is it and this is supposed to be ERROR. No. Okay, fine. Slow down. Okay, so result is... Oh, did I just type parse person error? I had it backwards. Oh, yes. Thank you. Spot on. So that passes a handful of tests, but fails a bunch of other ones. Okay. So now, like I said, I don't know that I understand why that line has to be there. Like if I comment that out and I replace this with parse person error, missing in, so I guess it's a necessity. In what? Why is that needed? So person is implementing debug and partial EQ. So it has to have an associated type as part of FromStr. Oh, interesting. So we have to say what the type of the error is, and then we can use that. Oh, it was self : as the part of the return type. Oh, interesting. I wouldn't, I think, have expected the need to have to attach a type in something like FromStr. That's not something I'm used to, and I'm not sure I immediately see why it's necessary, but I'm willing to roll with it. Okay, so now we're going to do pretty much the same thing we did before. Oh, so this could still be parse person error. Oh. Weird. Huh. Yeah, I don't know that I fully understand. So I'm going to maybe make a note to myself to look this up more later. So why do we need to define this ERR type here? Okay. Actually, maybe I'll just look up FromStr quick. Rust FromStr. So it's a trait and it has a type, ERR, and that type is used in the result. And since self comes from the impl, we don't have to say what self is, but it wants to parameterize over that type. And I guess it needs to, thinking about it in writing this text right here, what would they put here if we didn't have that type? There's no type name we could put here that would make sense. So they've got to have a name to put here, and that's probably why they're having to declare a type there. That's interesting. I don't think I had understood that before, but that does actually make some sense now. Okay, that's cool. And then, as was suggested, we could either say self ERR or person error here, and they'll amount to the same thing. And I don't know, for readability standpoint, I think I like saying explicitly here what we're returning. I guess there could be some generalization that would come from saying self-er, but I don't see what that would look like here, to be honest with you. So I'm going to leave this as parse person error for now. And so, thank you. Good suggestion. Good feedback. So I think we can steal much of the same logic, the dreaded copy paste. And we'll just have to change. Let's get rid of the commenting part. We'll just have to change the errors. Oh, actually, no, this isn't going to work. Because we now have all these different errors, before I was basically collapsing all the errors into a single default. And now that's not going to be the right answer anymore, because we need to return the specific error. So we're going to have to make some changes here, but that's fine. We will do it. Okay, so we're going to split on comma. We are going to unwrap the name. That should always succeed, because if nothing else, we'll get the empty string. Now, here, it might make sense to go back to saying if name.len is 0, return parse person error. Now we have to check the string's empty, because this is actually the empty name field case, and we have to separate that from the possibility that the string's empty altogether. So if s dot len is 0, actually, is there an empty or something for strings? Rust string is empty. Oh, there is an isEmpty method. Oh, that's better. Actually, I should come back here and change that too. But if s dot is empty, can't spell, then we return parse person error. I think they called it empty. Yeah, empty. Okay. So if it's the string is empty, we'll return parse person error empty. Otherwise, we'll split. We'll get the first piece out, and then we will see if it's empty, and if it is, we'll return that ERR. And I'm going to actually comment all this out and return something random here at the end. Actually, let's go back to returning person. Oh, it's going to be okay. Person, name, Nick, age 59. Oh, and I guess I don't need to say return because this is Rust. I can just say that. So I'm just curious what the the toString again. Which errors, which tests we fail, and then we can kind of think about the failures as we go. Okay, so missing age, panicked. Oh, was expecting parse person error, and it didn't get one. So we'll just have to keep kind of toddling along. Okay, so these pass. Now we're going to have to get the age out. Okay. And now we need to check to see if we've got too many. So if... Oh, and I've still got the len here. We should change this to isEmpty because I like that better. So if split results dot next dot is sum, then we're going to want to return ERR parse person error. What do we want? We want bad len. Oh, and actually, if the age is a none, we also want a bad len, because that means we only had one element instead of two.
Hey, Mom?
So I think we're going to need to say, or I think we can say, if name dot is none, or split results next is sum, no. Oh, it's not name, it's age. If age is none. Okay. Oh, actually great. We're actually down to just 3 failures, a good input, invalid age, and missing age. Now I would have thought missing age we handled. So what happened with missing age? We expected a parse person error. Okay, let's look at the missing age test. Missing age. So we give it a comma, but there's no, so it's not really missing in the sense that there's no comma. It's missing in the sense that there's just no text. So we get an empty string. So this is going to fail actually in more or less the same way that this fails. The empty string here and the string 20 here are both going to fail to parse to be a number. So, okay. So I'm good. Those 3 tests failing seem to be the right 3 tests. So that takes care of that. At this point, we can skip all of this. That's been dealt with. Now this or something like it is what we want. So we're going to take age, unwrap it, which is legal because we've checked the is none. Then we're going to parse to a usize. If that works, we want to return this. If it fails, here's the place that's different. We want to return an error parse person error : what do they call it? Parse int error. Parse int, and is that going to work? No. Oh yes, we need a result because we're returning a result type, and this didn't work because it's okay. Not I gotta learn syntax. Okay, woohoo! It worked. That passed. So that becomes longer and a little uglier, perhaps, but we get much more informative error checking. So that's actually kind of nice. It makes the code probably a little grosser, but whoever's using this is going to get hopefully more information when something fails. And so I suspect it's more usable code in that regard. So I think we could just join those guys up. That's all about age. I almost feel like there's some helper functions that would be useful here, but you'd end up having to pass name in, and I'm not sure that really is going to be worth it. I think we'll let it go for now. So if it's empty, we'll return this error. We will split. We will get the name. If the name is empty, we'll return that error. Then we get the age. Actually, I guess then this is the name section and this is the age section. We get the age. If the age is none, or there is another element in the string, we'll return bad len. Otherwise, we will unwrap because we know there's something there, and we'll parse to usize. If that succeeds, we'll return okay with a person, and if it fails, we'll pass up the error, and we should be good. Haha! I think that's actually pretty nifty. Well done. Okay, I like that. I think I learned some things there. This has actually been, I wasn't sure what to expect in the conversions, but I think that I've actually, I was gonna back up, and I was gonna replace these len zeros with is empty because I like that better. And is it just the one? Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Because this is saying try from into. So that's moving on to the next one. Okay. Okay. So on to, wow, it's 11:25 already. I figured we'd kind of blow through these and then have lots of time to like move on to the project. But I'm not even sure we'll finish them all. Might have to finish on Saturday, which is cool. I am not unhappy about that. So I'm learning stuff. TryFrom is a simple and safe conversion that may fail in a controlled way under some circumstances. Basically, this is the same as from. The main difference is that it should return a result type instead of the target type itself. Okay, so from, if we back up, oh no, that would be here. From, we just call, well, that was parse. Actually, from was over here. We just call from, and this has to be a person or bad things will happen. Whereas in this try from, we get a result, so that if we can't make it into a thing, we have the ability to return interesting errors. That seems reasonable. And probably preferable in quite a few circumstances, I would guess. So, and we can have try from and try into. So we can try to convert from something or try to convert into something. So we got a struct color, red, green, blue, that are U8s. So 24-bit color, into color, error. Has bad len and into int conversion. And if we look at, wow, okay, there's lots of things going on here, but let's look at the main. So we're going to try from, we'll pass it a tuple of numbers, and we get a color, and that's going to be a result type. And here we're explicit about the result type. And we will try into, and here it doesn't know what type to try into unless we actually say this. So I think this is necessary, so try into knows what we're trying to convert into. And here we're doing it from a vec of U8s. Here we have another, slice of U8s. Here we have another slice of U8s. We can use try from and hand it reference to the slice. Or we can try into, and I guess the parens are necessary because of this is probably a pretty aggressive binding, and it would probably bind to v dot, I'm guessing, before the ampersand gets to kick in, and then we would get something. Okay, so I think I get the general idea. So let's see if we can do something. Your task is to complete this implementation and return an OK result of inner type color. You need to create an implementation for a tuple of 3 integers, an array of 3 integers, and a slice of integers. Note that the implementation for tuple and array will be checked at compile time, but the slice implementation needs to check the slice length. Also, oh, yes. So the tuple and the array, so let me think. This is actually an array, and it knows at compile time that is got length 3, and so it'll check that for us. Whereas this has we know it has length 3, but that's a runtime check here when we use the slice. Okay. Also note that correct RGB values must be integers in 0 to 255, which, oh, hey, look. Yeah, so we've used U8s here, but here we're actually using I16s. So there's going to be a conversion issue there. And that's presumably where this error is going to kick in. If we try to go from an I16 to a U8, and it can't do it, we'll get an error of some sort. Okay, so TryFrom, let's just start with the tuple. And again, we have to define the error type for all 3 of these, which is going to be an into color error. TryFrom takes a tuple of 3 I16s and returns a result that's either a color or a color : error, which is this into color error. Okay. So we actually, so we ought to be able to get everything to compile but do unhelpful things if we say, oh, what was it, undefined? Is that a thing? I remember seeing something in one of the, no. I remember seeing something that where you could, in one of the other rustling exercises, where you could say rust indicate function not yet defined. To do, maybe? No, not clear. I swear I saw something in, to do, maybe the thing. So let's see. If we put that in everywhere, oops. So now things run. All the tests failed, but things run. Panicked at not yet implemented. Okay, that's cool. So that actually, I like that better, because then the compiler, I can distinguish more easily between the compiler's unhappy and the logic's wrong. So, and actually I'm curious, rust to do bang, to do and std indicates unfinished code. Useful if you're just looking to have your code type check. Oh, there is an it's unimplemented instead of undefined. Okay, so unimplemented is just like it's not done. Maybe it'll never get done. Whereas to do is it's not done yet, but I intend to do it. And that actually would be the better choice here. Like, we obviously intend to do these things. Okay, that's cool. So now, I could, so let's start by doing something dumb that will just not work. So we could say return color red is tuple 0, green is tuple 1, and blue is tuple 2. Oh, and actually that would have to be, oh, stop it. That's supposed to be result type. Now that won't work because the type checker will be grumpy. Because, yeah, we expected U8s and we found I16s. Now, can I just say as U8 here, I think that will panic if those conversions fail? Or maybe even worse. Oh, it's not result, it's okay. There's like bingo to be done for the number of times Nick uses okay instead of result. Oh, that actually passed some things. Okay. That's interesting. So where does it fail? Oh, it fails at all the not yet implemented. Sure, I get that. But here, so we were expecting int conversion, but we got 255, 246. Oh, test tuple out of range negative. Let's look at that. Test tuple out of range. Yeah, so these, my as is just doing sort of dumb byte conversion bit level. It's like, oh, we're going to take this set of bits and pretend it's an U8, and that just isn't right. So we're going to have to do some testing. And since they're saying to try to use, this is about TryFrom. Now we're implementing TryFrom, but I wonder if we can use it too. That if we say I8 TryFrom or U8, does that even like work syntactically? No. Oh, yeah, right, because it's, oh, it's colon. What am I doing? No. Expected U8 found result. Right. Okay, that makes sense. And if we are, again, so maybe this is the right idea. If we're just dumb and we say unwrap, it will compile, but we will get like the out of range negative. So we panicked on unwrap because this wasn't actually the desired value. Yeah. Now the question is, can we map that? Can you map across a tuple? I feel like you can. Seems like a Rust thing that I could map across a tuple. In which case, I wonder if I could say tuple.map, and I'm going to have a int val, and I want to see if I can convert it to a U8, and then oops. Let's go ahead and still return our incorrect thing. So method cannot be called. Oh, I can't call map. Oh, I need a let there, don't I? Is that really the problem? No. Rust map over tuple. Yeah, I was thinking that maybe there was a question mark thing somewhere, and that was kind of what I was hoping. Maybe the map would let me, that if I collect yeah. Oh yeah, map maybe. But I also want to map over the elements of the tuple. Oh, and it says that you can, it says there's a map. But maybe, I don't know, that was helpful. Let's go back here. Oh, why can't we map tuples on argue? Oh, because they have different types. Oh, it's a totally different question, in fact. But because they have potentially different types, I bet that you can't do this. Oh, and then there's macro stuff, and yeah, no, we're not going to get into that. Humph. No. And actually, let's just to remind myself, Rust map Now that changes, that's right. That lets you change the error type. Yeah, so you get a result TE to a result TF. And map, just map, changes T to U but leaves the E type alone. But that's not really the issue. I want to treat all three of the I16s the same, and so I was hoping I could map across them. Now, I wonder if the thing to do is to actually focus on the array implementation, because one way you could then do the tuple implementation is take the three values, stick them in array, and then just call the array implementation. And the array implementation, because it's an array, I think I can map over that. I think I can do something like let U8s tuple, no, r.map int value U8 TryFrom int value. Like, I think something like that will compile, whereas, yeah, so that compiles, and then I can use closures to treat each one of the color elements the same, because I don't really want to have to treat the red value and the green value and the blue value differently in the conversion process. I mean, I guess I could also write a helper function that would do that and then use question mark on the helper function. Well, maybe that's the thing to do, actually, because if there was a helper function that did I16 to U8 and returned the right error if that failed, then I could just use that helper function everywhere. And that actually might be a reasonable thing to do. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I could turn this into my helper function. So I guess the idea then is that I could so that array map is an array of result types, and so you're suggesting that I would do map error here and syntax mapper yeah, they aren't super helpful. I agree with that. Because passing stringify here seems to be not useful. Because it's a function. So it's a function that takes a U32 and generates a string. So I think we want a function that takes one kind of error and returns it into another kind of error. So I think we could have like ERR, boom. And this was in a previous exercise, and I just don't remember the details. So we're returning, because there'd be a parse error, an int conversion. So an into color error. So that would change whatever the error was to be. Oh, it compiles. But that doesn't really tell us very much. So at this point, I've got the. So is this where I would say return color? Oh, it's result color. And I would say red is U8's 0 question mark. Green U8's 1 question mark. Blue U8's 2 question mark. Oh, I need a comma here. I don't really need a comma there. And putting a question mark over here at the end of the U8's definition isn't going to work because I need, there are 3 individual result types. But if I collect into the right type, if I collect into a result, I think I can go from an array of results to a result of an array, because I think that was in one of the earlier options. So hi, Lumicult. We are flailing through some interesting, definitely not finishing today, are we? Flailing through some interesting questions about type conversion and higher order functions. And I wonder if, so at this point, that thing is an array of results. And if we say, which makes me think maybe the map error could be somewhere else, but let's try dot, dot collect : into result U8 3 actually self error. And it doesn't like that. Why is it unhappy? So a comma somewhere. Oh, actually we're missing a right angle bracket right here. Oh, maybe? Okay. Collect cannot be called on. Oh, so actually we don't get an iterator there. We just get the array. I was sort of thinking we were going to get an iterator. So it's so collect is not meaningful. So then I think what you were suggesting earlier, which is now looking more promising to me, is that we would question mark here. So if that's a error type, then we will return that error type at that point. And otherwise we'll continue, and we should then get the result values. Oh, and now, oh, hey, it says these are U8s. So the question marks don't make sense here because the question mark up above took care of the problem. Oh, I think you might have done the right thing. Oh, no. Cannot use the question mark operator in a closure that returns U8. Well, did I put this in the wrong place? Okay. So we're taking the int value, TryFrom, we're mapping the error, but I would have thought that was result type. Why? I'm confused. The error is making it sound like we already had int 8s, but we didn't have. Yeah, those aren't int 8s. Or U8s. If I put the question mark there. Is the question mark binding to the wrong thing? Boy, I feel like we're really close. Cannot use the question mark operator in a closure that returns a U8. This function should return... Oh! Is the problem... that it doesn't know... It seems to... Is the problem that it thinks this is going to be an array of U8s? And not... And it wants it to be a result type? Oh, actually, is there... Oh, this is... Oh, it's okay again. Golly, Neds. I hope that actually wasn't the problem all along. No. So, cannot use the closure operator in a closure that returns U8. So, this is supposed to return a result type if we're using the question mark. It thinks. But I thought that was the point of the question mark. Rust question mark operator. Okay. So, okay, fine. Do the thing. Do the thing returns result. But I have if even question mark. So have if even returns result type. So this will unpacks the result if it's okay and returns the error if it's not. Calling into to potentially convert it to another type. Okay. I wonder if that into is useful. So that's what I would have thought this would have done for us. I mean, what if we... Okay, let's get rid of the map error. Maybe the map error is confusing things. So cannot use the question mark on a closure that returns U8. This function should return result or option. So does TryFrom, but TryFrom returns a result type. Is this like a binding problem? No, that was not the right answer. I don't think this has got anything to do with it. I think I'm flailing. Yeah, I'm clearly just making stuff up at this point. So, okay. Oh. Maybe there's a light bulb? Because map is supposed to turn a thing of the correct type. Correct. And so... And the lambda doesn't really return an error. But this could return a... Oops, I didn't mean to do that. What if we put the question mark here? Does that make something better? No. because we've got an array of results. So it knows that those are result types, and it's, whoa, stop that. Could map it again? Could, but that seems ickety gross. And we've got a perfectly good map. It'd be nice to use it. I wonder if maybe, again, I had this idea of having a function I16 to U8 that takes an I16, and returns a U8. Oh, wait, so it would be a result. So it's either going to be U8 or it's going to be a into color error. Okay. Oh, that's got to have a type. Now, it seems like I ought to be able to say U8 TryFrom I16 val dot map into color error : int conversion. Now, is that gonna work? Compile as a function. Yes, that compiles as a function. But actually, it's not going to help anything. That's really just this. Although it does show that the map error works, and that we do get the right kind of error. Whereas I think if we didn't have the map error, we'd have the wrong return type. Yeah, so we expected, well, hang on. Oh yeah, we got to try from int error instead of a into color error. So the map does fix that. It fixes the map conversion. Now, why? So if we change this to can I just put the function name in here? And that will be the wrong type. That's okay, because found enum result. Okay. So now we've got an array of 3 results. And there was a way to collect. Yeah, so I don't think so, because this is going to be an array. We might have to map again. That just seems icky. I don't like it. Nope, got the same problem. That the closure doesn't seem to return the right thing for me to use a question mark there. Rust convert array of result to single result. So this is vec result. Let's have a look. V into iter. Oh, I needed to make an iter and then the collect would do the right thing. Ah, that was I think that was the thing I wanted to do earlier, and so I think if we say into iter collect vec u8 is that going to be the right thing? So it's result. Yeah, it's going to be. I don't know if I put it here or if I put the type on the other side. Method, not a field. So it's going to be result. So I think actually I need to have the type over here. Result vec u8 self error, and then I can just say collect here and it'll figure out the types. Gonna work. No. Yes, maybe it did. Maybe it did. Type result vec u8 into color error cannot be built from iterator result u8. What's the result vec of te an iterator over result te, which is going to be u8 and our error, can be turned into a result of a vec and an e. So this looks like this ought to be the thing. Yeah, I'm thinking. Well, I'm thinking actually I'll just have one result after doing this, and I can question mark it. But this is. Oh, I don't need that part anymore. I don't think that's to solve the problem. Result vec u8 cannot be built from iterator over the elements. Was it the ampersand the problem here? Is that going to be like that? No. Definitely not. So into iter, does that actually work? What if we don't specify a type? What is collect going to do? Oh. Can't consider giving u8 a type. So it can't infer the type without saying something. Oh, it's after 12. It's vec result. But I thought the whole point of using collect here was that we could get it to be a result instead of a vec result. That was really what I wanted. So I wanted to turn use collect to return the vec of results into a result of a vec. So here we've got this business. Maybe that's the typing to do. Oh, hey, might have worked. So then U8 actually might be a thing. Holy moly, did that actually work? And then we put a question mark at the end of that. And nope. Cannot be applied to... Oh, it still says it's a vec of results. I didn't want it to be a vec of results, did I? So actually applying that type. So this was the type I wanted. Wow, that is kind of atrocious, but let's try that. And no, can't build that. Okay, it is nearly quarter past, and I've got other stuff I need to do. So I think I should declare failure here. White flag. And obviously we will have to return to this on Saturday, and I will attempt to do a little homework. I'll try to not solve the problem. I might see if I can get past the array one. But do a little homework between now and Saturday so that there's a little less flailing going on when we pick up Saturday. So, wow, that turned out to be a lot more than I expected. You are all awesome. Thank you all for your help. We should be back here on Saturday, same time, and a little luck will get past this and finish the remaining exercises, of which there are not that many. At this point, there are 2 more conversion exercises and the 2 advanced errors. So hopefully we can finish those on Saturday and actually begin working on the project. I should have had this URL up, and I didn't think to do it. There we go. So this is, I'll put the link in the description. This is the project I'm thinking of working on, or a description of it. There's not any code, but there is a description of what it is I'm trying to do. And fingers crossed we could start that on Saturday, assuming I can ever get past this one exercise. So you're awesome people. Thank you very much. I will talk to you later, and I'm out of here. Ciao.